Experiential language learning. I hear and I forget. I see and I remember. I do and I understand. Confucius. Gone are the days when learners were considered blank slates and teachers providers of knowledge. Children come to school with their own experiences, an inner world of their own making, resulting mostly from their interaction with immediate surroundings, parents, and other family members. When they begin socializing outside the close knit, familiar surrounding, is when their inner world faces an outer world. They strive to understand the changes being witnessed, correlate, adjust, assimilate, and accommodate the new experiences in their existing understanding of the world. There is a cognitive conflict that leads to a meaning making process. This process is a natural one and is not supplied by a teacher. A successful learning atmosphere would be a place that accelerates this process and guides it in the right direction. Schools must ensure that this remains one of the key principles when designing their curriculum and methodology. The disappointing reality is the rigidness that gets hold of our classrooms and gradually gets accepted as the norm. The teachers give in to the traditional methods and the students also get uncomfortable with them, which severely hampers the quality of education. The question is, why cannot they rely on direct experience as much as possible when it comes to learning concepts, theories, laws, language, etc. in schools? Direct experiences, as discussed earlier, forms the foundation of learning for a child. To bring authenticity to learning, providing real-life experiences as a pedagogy is imperative. Providing opportunities for having authentic experiences to facilitate learning is what is termed experiential learning approach. According to NCF 2005, knowledge can be conceived as experience organized through language into patterns of thought or structures of concepts, thus creating meaning, which in turn helps us understand the world we live in. In experiential learning, say in botany, the teacher can provide the experience of observing plants or the process of germination. In zoology, a part of an organism for direct experience, and so on. Similarly, a language teacher can also provide direct experiences to enhance learning among students. Let us understand in detail what experiential language learning is. Experiential language learning. The main purpose of examinations in schools worldwide is not to test the knowledge that the students can retain from the classrooms, but to determine their level of competency or capability of dealing with situations in the real world. In such circumstances, it doesn't seem fair that the learning process will be didactic or one where the student will play a passive role compared to the facilitator. Scholars and eminent thinkers have propounded theories keeping the learner at the center of learning. It engages the learner directly and results in the creation of knowledge by the learner. It was the American educational reformer John Dewey who, in his philosophy of education, appealed to embrace the philosophy of experience in order to bring about innovations in the education system. Since then, there have been many studies that focus on how integrating experience is the ideal way to make education progressive and dynamic. School education at one point was becoming largely restricted to a set pattern of teaching and learning. This resulted in a rigidity that curbed the freedom of mind for both teachers and students. Many of us may be able to recall the fixed seating arrangement in classrooms, expectation of pin drop silence, limited teaching methodologies, and defined roles where the ratio of teachers and students' activeness in class was 80:20. This learning environment is not conducive to forging real life connections, which is the need of the hour. You cannot impose your experiences on learners as their way of perceiving things may vary from yours and their meaning making process might be different as well. Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences can also be cited here to support this. To break free from this monotony, you need to be innovative and come up with approaches such as experiential learning. This learning process aims at providing meaningful experiences to the students, where they actively participate in tasks that are challenging and engrossing. The active participation ratio between the teacher and the student is inverted, and the teacher becomes more of a facilitator of learning. At the heart of this philosophy is the learner, who goes beyond the level of mere cognition and achieves a holistic experience by engaging all her or his senses, and as a result acquires skills by doing. Experiential learning is a method of learning where the learners get first hand experience of situations. Lessons are planned in such a manner that the learners engage directly with a phenomenon or process, and learning takes place through what they experience. Their direct experience is followed by other stages which give them a chance of reflecting, conceptualizing, and applying. With active observation, thinking, and reflecting, they adjust and determine their responses or behavior. Hence, the learners undergo a change in behavior as they learn something new, but this new knowledge is not a linear transmission from the teacher, but their own findings or conclusions. These findings will be more effective as the learners themselves create or come to these conclusions under the initial circumstances presented or introduced by the facilitator. This initial circumstance, for example, any simulation, begins a process wherein the learners use their previous knowledge, observe, analyze, think critically and creatively, and then act or make a decision. Role plays, field trips, hands on experiments, interviews, games, community outreach programs, design thinking, project works, portfolios, visual and performing activities, etc., are examples of activities or tools that may lead to experiential learning. The learners are engaged mentally, physically, or both in these activities, which result in active and independent learning. Manifold benefits. More effective. One of the most basic reasons for discouraging rote learning and didactic methods is that it hinders in depth comprehension. Learning by doing, on the other hand, engages all faculties of the learner and hence results in longer retention and better consolidation of learning. Application based learning. When learners are restricted only to theoretical aspects of a subject, they find it quite challenging to apply those concepts in real world situations. Experiential learning bridges the gulf between theory and practice. The learners, as a result, are more prepared to handle circumstances that they come across outside the academic premises. Growth as an individual. Experiential learning methodology is essentially learner centric. The learners get the opportunity of growing in a multidimensional manner as they explore the external situation as well as their intrinsic qualities while handling the former. They connect with various ideas and beliefs, make decisions, and gain confidence. They become more aware of themselves and learn life skills. Freedom of thought. The teacher is a facilitator and not a dictator. The classroom itself is an ocean of diversity, and the experiential practice gives plenty of scope to the learners to think independently. They are encouraged to pave their own way out of a problem or create a favorable atmosphere for a given condition. Uncertainty competence. There are numerous resources available on a single topic, and in today's world of advanced internet connectivity, learners face resource overload. In such a situation, it is very important that uncertainty competence is developed among children, which will enable them to be better at decision making amidst all the complexity and ambiguity. The experiential approach trains the students to take decisions after looking at a certain issue from several perspectives. This will help them remain productive in most situations. Increased creativity. Experiential learning boosts creativity as the learners directly experience a certain phenomenon or become part of a process. They also experience barriers in their way. They get creative with finding solutions. They are not only encouraged to think independently, but they also take course to trial and error methods, among many other ways, and it boosts their creativity. Integrating art for learning is one of the ways of providing students with opportunities to be creative. Critical thinking fosters. It helps the learners in active and skillful conceptualizing, analyzing, synthesizing, problem solving, and applying. The learners faced with a certain kind of situation use skills of reasoning, rational thinking, drawing comparisons, and guiding one's behavior according to the demand of the situation. Learning space that is safe. The learners get a comfortable learning environment where they can make mistakes and learn before they go out to face similar situations outside the classroom. Learning on the way. Experiential learning method promotes holistic learning. While seeking an answer to a question through the experiential method, a learner explores several other aspects and learns additional concepts and ideas. This method does not solely focus on the target but the journey, and hence the learner gains a rich experience. Demonstrable learning outcomes. The learning outcomes expected from any activity are demonstrated predominantly in tangible terms and can be easily assessed. As a result, you can easily evaluate the learners during the learning sessions instead of waiting till the end to take a conventional pen and paper test.